What's up, everybody? Welcome to Inside the Seams, where we bring hitters and pitchers together to talk about the game so it can grow. I'm really excited about this episode. You're going to love it. Let's get going. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the latest edition of Inside the Seams, where we bring hitters and pitchers together to just be ball players and talk about baseball, life, and everything in between. So today we've got an awesome guest. I'm really excited for you guys to kind of hear his story, what he's involved with, his wisdom, just lots of cool stuff that's going to come from this. So just get ready to listen to this all the way through, because it's going to be great. So set aside whatever you need to read it and pay attention. It's going to be great. So with us today, we got Kameron Loe. And so Cam has done a lot of things and continues to do a lot of good things, right? So here's just a little bit for you guys that don't know who he is, and if you don't, then you're a pup and you need to go back and look, because you should know, right? So Cam played professional baseball for 14 years. Started out his college career at the Big West, in the Big West. Won a NCAA Division I Big West championship. He won the Nolan Ryan Award for Texas Rangers Minor League Pitcher of the Year. Won the Unsung Hero Award for the Milwaukee Brewers. Was on and a part of the NL Central Championship team with the Milwaukee Brewers. Won the AAA Minor League World Series Championship with the Royals affiliate in 2014, and also won the Mexican National Championship in the Mexican League with the Aguilas de Mexicali, I think is how you say it.
Aguilas de Mexicali.
There we go. And since then, right, he's done some really cool things, involved in some cool things as far as like business and helping the game and just doing some things. So right now he's currently the president of the Association of Professional Ball Players of America. So the gist of that, right, is it was started in 1924 when 12 former players gathered and determined there was a need to assist the less fortunate members of their baseball profession. Since then, they've grown to over 100,000 current members, and they kind of help baseball players, ex-baseball players with financial support, medical support, career counseling, disaster support, mentoring, financial advisement, mental health, addiction recovery, citizenship, stuff like that. He is also the president, CEO, and co-founder of Halo Health Inc., which is kind of a non-invasive pain relief and wellness company that utilizes some FDA approved artificial intelligence medical devices that kind of help with pain and disease and removing that from the body and stuff. And he's also on some really cool advisory boards. One of those is called the Extreme Focus, which is kind of a mental strength and performance company that helps, really focusing on somebody reaching their potential, right? And then in business and in sports, right? And then he's also on the advisory board for scoutday.com, which is kind of a baseball focused talent and recruiting platform that helps young players get evaluated honestly and correctly, and they kind of connect them right with pro guys and college guys. And I think he's got some other business things that he kind of does, and kind of an entrepreneur, right? And so yeah, man, Cam, man, we're so excited to have you. Really,
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, we're excited to have you and hear your wisdom, and thanks for being on and taking the time.
Absolutely, yeah, pumped to be on with you and Zing, man. Zing said, "Hey, would you hop on?" And I said, "Absolutely."
Love it, man. Yeah,
pleasure meeting you.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, we're excited, man. I think there's a lot to glean, kind of like how we were talking about before, man. I think your current things that you're doing now is very important, right, for younger guys to see post game, right, at what's there after the game, right, and it just helps kind of put baseball in a place in a good way, right? And so I think that's super important, man. So yeah, man, to kind of get started, so what's kind of like 14 years playing professional baseball, right? That's a long time. You're kind of in, right, with that, and sold out for it, right? So what's kind of your earliest memory with baseball? What kind of got you started with this game?
Oh boy. I think my earliest memory of baseball, honestly, is I was 5 years old playing for the Tigers at a little park. And it was my first league. And I hit the ball and I was running down to first, and the first baseman picked up the chalk line and threw it in my face. And
No way.
my eyeballs. I think that's my first my first memory of organized baseball. But it's gotten better since then. So
I love
Thank God. That's a rough one.
That's amazing.
That's back when it was like made of lime. So my parents were rushing me to the bathroom and like spraying water in my face.
Oh man.
That's one of the best. That's one of the best first baseball stories I've ever heard. That's crazy.
You're saying then we played against each other originally back in 2003 in the Midwest League. So I remember the Beast slinging it out there and carving up our team. And yeah, we kind of renewed our friendship later on, or we made a friendship later on through one of our good buddies, Manny Parra, who brought Cam to the backyard. And or actually, you came to the backyard and brought Manny back there, huh?
It was Matty Hammonds.
Was it Matt Hammonds? Oh, what a gem!
I saw Hambone at a conference, or at like he was showing his pitching tunnels, and he's like, "What are you doing now, man? You still playing?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm looking for somebody to play catch with and hang out and do a little workout." And he's like, "Call my boy Zing. He's ready 24 hours a day." And I was like, "Okay," and then I came over to your place and we got after it, man. And so it's been a beautiful friendship ever since.
Yeah, like I say, we've got to do a lot of fun stuff together at Fuel Factory, in the backyard. Sifu, who we had on last time, actually Cameron brought Sifu over to Fuel Factory, which has been a great fit. So Cam is also still throwing, so let's make sure that's known too, because I think pretty soon you're going to go do it somewhere, right?
Good possibility. Right now I'm playing men's league, but
which is beautiful.
Up to 88, 90 miles an hour and still got a sinker and just having fun right now. I got a lot of responsibilities on the plate, but if it works out and it's something that will, bring more attention to the association and bring more attention to what I'm doing on the health and wellness side of things, I'm considering going back and playing, especially if it's like a AAA, with an opportunity to go back to the big leagues.
Love that.
We'll see.
That's
we'll
awesome.
See.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's lofty right now, but I'm having a good time just, staying in shape and getting the arm moving again. I didn't throw a baseball for about 4 years. So the process of getting that arm moving again was not pain-free. Let's just say that.
I believe that. Yeah. So if you haven't seen Cam throw or anything with that, I would definitely recommend looking some stuff on YouTube, man, because that dude was filthy. And it was like a sinker, starting at the hip, like line height wise, right, and it could have ended up in your back foot if you were righty, right? So it was filthy, right? So I think you've probably broken your fair share of bats. I'm guessing.
Oh man, I love me some firewood.
Oh yeah, buddy.
Now I feel kind of bad when I break these men's league guys' backs, because I know they're not getting sponsored by Sam Bat or Louisville Slugger. But oh well. I guess
I love it, man. I love it. It's always the worst feeling, especially when you lose 2 and 1 at bat or 3 and 1 at bat. It's the worst. Yeah. It's the worst, man. But yeah, man. So like, what? I don't know. You played a long time, right? You got the ability potentially to go back and do it again, right? So like, what about this game is special to you enough to where you wanted to continue to do it, right? Because I know like once you get past a certain threshold of an age, right? Like the body doesn't move as fast, it doesn't move as well. There's more work that goes into it, right? The mental toll that goes on it, the bus trips, like all that stuff. So what about this game has been special enough to where it's just kind of captured you in a way?
After playing for so long, and that being my profession and my main focus for 15 years professionally, and then going into the workforce and being an entrepreneur and starting a business, and you realize how difficult it really is, to build a business, run a business, manage people, and the simplicity of baseball, going out there, just getting yourself ready to compete, having that, that competition, and really, it's hard to duplicate that excitement and that endorphin flow. Then, when a batter steps in and he's ready to smoke it back up the middle, and and you're ready to break his bat. And so I missed it. I don't think I realized how much I missed it. And so when I started playing catch again and my arm started feeling good again, I was like, man, it just kind of lit a fire under me, and I wanted to play again. Plus I get to play first base now, so I get to play a position, and I'm not just a pitcher. And I take a couple ABs and stuff like that. So yeah, I was just excited to go back and play some men's league and just get out there and, have the camaraderie and joke around in the dugout, and, help some of these younger guys out too, that are still trying to go and see what they can do in their careers. Those guys, it's an 18 and over league. So, I'm hanging out with 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds, and some of the guys that are my age as well, mid 30s. And, but yeah, it's just fun being out there talking baseball and helping guys out wherever I can, and being a part of a team again.
I love to hear you're playing a position, bro. That lights me up. I'm gonna have to come watch. I want to see you swing it too. Like, that is a straight Viking right here, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, I don't know if you can tell, but this man is a full-grown, beautiful human. But one of my favorite things, if you look back, you can look it up, but there's a day when you were playing with the Giants, and you and Timmy Lincecum switched jerseys for the day. And that is one of my favorite pictures. I thought it was so awesome.
You look like you got pajamas on.
Yep.
I look like
yours looked like they were painted on.
No, that was fun. He was really cool about it. He had a good sense of humor about it. It was fun.
Cool, man. Yeah, and I think that's something that, right, I think personally being involved in more like the younger, like leading into the professional side, right, with the college stuff and those guys, right, I think a lot of guys miss the why baseball is special, right? Because like just with the world that we live in, all the different things, right, it's just kind of taken away from some of the simplicity, right, that you mentioned with the game, right? And not all of it's bad, not all of it, I don't even know if it is good and bad, right? It's some of it's just fact. But I think that a lot of these guys, like I was talking to a kid a couple weeks ago, and he said, he hit a grand slam, right, walked it off, won the conference for him, like did all this stuff, and like, and then they're still playing, right? And then he's talking about, well, I gotta, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to do that. I was like, man, you cannot remake these moments, right? You've got to enjoy these moments, because you'll probably never do that again. And like you have to slow down a little bit, enjoy the camaraderie, enjoy it, because there's just like every single guy that you talk to, or girl that's been in any kind of sports, is like that's what they talk about, right? The camaraderie, the simplicity of it, like always having that group, that squad, like, and I think that that's something that especially in the youth.
Fast.
Yeah,
it goes fast, man. I've got a picture sitting right in here of us, kind of celebrating and dogpiling for my college team when we won the Big West in 2002, and it was our 20th year anniversary just a couple of weeks ago of that, and somebody posted it, and I didn't realize it. I was like, oh my gosh, 20 years ago, man. It doesn't seem like that long ago, but yeah, it goes fast.
It does, man. And I think that that's something, this game is wonderful but hard, right, and terrible, and mean, and all those other things too, right? But it's not the big moments are great, right? When you have success in those big moments, it's great, but it's the conversations, right? Zing talks about that all the time. It's the relationships, it's the conversations, it's because you're going to spend more of your life, typically, right, on average, you're going to spend more of your life not playing or outside of it, right, than you will playing it. And so like I think that that's something that a lot of guys miss. A lot of girls like they just don't understand it, right? We're so fast paced in this world now, and so it's just I love that you kind of said that, and because it is special.
Those like you said, those moments are short. They're you get one day, or a few hours of celebration, after you win a championship. But what about the rest of the entire season? What about the rest of the off season? Like, you can't not enjoy those parts, or else you're going to be miserable. So
That's
your
wise.
whole focus can't be on just that one little tiny, moment in time. You got to enjoy the whole journey, and you got to be thankful for the tough times, because without those learning lessons, without getting punched in the gut, and learning to bob and weave so that you don't get punched next time, it's the only way you get to those precipice moments, and get to dogpile, and get to share those big championships with the team. And you got to enjoy the journey, baby.
That's right, man. I love that. Yeah, that's great. So yeah, like now being not a pup, right? So like what are when you have those conversations, right, now, or right when you're towards the end of your career, right, and you're meeting with or talking with the guys that are the younger guys, what were some of the pieces of advice that you were kind of giving to them, or give to them now, right, about the journey, the process, I know it's probably some of what you just said, right, but like what were some of those conversations going on, like in spring training or whatever, like what, right? So if like a young kid, right, we're talking like 25 younger, anybody really, but like what would be some, what were those conversations like? What'd you tell people?
Number one, come out and work hard, every day. Come out, work hard. I love Zinger's, his message to all of his guys, and it's one day better. Best day yet, one day better. And you come to the field, or come to the gym, come to your facility, ready to work, ready to get one day better, and enjoy it, and developing your process, developing your mental process, developing your physical process, figuring out what works for you day to day, figuring out because you talk to a lot of people, right? If you play ball long enough, you're going to have a lot of different coaches, and a lot of these coaches are going to have different philosophies and different ideas of what you should be doing. And you got to be able to soak it all in, open to trying things. And that's one of the things I really told myself before I started pro ball was, okay, I'm going to have all these coaches, going to have a lot of people wanting to tell me how to do things, and just be open to it, listen to it, absorb it, give it a fair chance, and then if it works for you, great, hang on to it. If not, put it aside, because it might work for somebody else down the road, and you might be able to give them a little nugget of information that that you picked up 12 years before, that didn't necessarily work for you, but now you can pass it on because you see something in them. So yeah, I think the biggest separator, especially when you get into professional baseball, and get into AA, AAA, and even the big leagues, is the mental game. And everybody's talented up there. Everybody was the best in their high school, best of their college, best top 2 or 3 on each level, that they moved up from. And when you get there, there's, of course, you're going to have your guys that they're just more gifted than everybody else. And those, we can rattle off a handful of those guys right now, your Trouts, your Harpers, but those guys are also extremely mentally tough. And but the everyday player, middle of the road, that 70-80% of the playing field, the separators, the mind, your everyday approach, how to how to take a gut punch and come back either the next day, or the next pitch, or the next inning, and take it, absorb it, learn from it, and adjust, and over and over and over again. And that's not an easy thing to do. That's it takes a diligence. It takes a mental strength, and a lot of times it takes some guidance from from guys like Zing. You know, he cultivates and really just pounds the mental game into his players, and that's why he's got such great success with his guys.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that's
Me too.
Yeah. I'm sure you do.
No, I mean, I love to hear it from guys that have been there and they know, you know, it's like when we're talking about the kids, like, hey, what are we going to share with them? You know, the deeper I dive into player development, you realize that, yes, you're preparing them for this mental thing. Like, yes, they have to have the physical ability.
I think we lost him
from the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I think we lost him for a second. But yeah, I think that's something Jon talks about a lot. It's just the, you know, because they have so many awesome guys that are running through there, right? But he's always really good about like talking about and like explaining to like the younger kids, right? It's like, hey, like watch how they're preparing, watch how they're doing stuff, watch their mental work, right? When they say, hey, that was a good pitch, but hey, that was a 7. Listen to how they process through that. Listen to how they're, you know, doing stuff like that. And yeah, I think that's great. What were you saying, Zing?
No, I was just saying, I think some of it too, and Cam can probably touch on this, but a lot of times it's also things that you eliminate. You know, a lot of times guys are looking to add things, and, you know, majority of the time it's like that statue of David that we talk about. Michelangelo never added anything to that statue. He chiseled away anything that was not the statue. And that's how it came about, you know, and that's in player development. I see a lot of that where, you know, yes, you have to have physical tools, but we've got to take you beyond that. And then it's got to be, what kind of things are you going to eliminate from your life that are holding you back?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I love that.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's such a key piece, because that's a life piece, right? That directly translates. Just like we were talking about before, right? It's like I got, you know, this and that and this going on, and then I got to be dad, and I got to be this, and I got to be that, and so it's just the ability to do that in a practical manner is just super important, I think. So, so yeah, so you've
you gotta have balance.
That's it. That's good.
Yeah, can't be all physical, can't be all mental, and yeah, life is about finding balance, and baseball is a great teacher of that, man. It'll show you where you're weak real quick too.
Oh yeah.
It'll find it, right? And it'll just harp on it, right? Like that's yeah, and it's one of those things too where like I think that as far, you know, like a lot of people will the story I like to think, like I heard Miguel Cabrera kind of talk about this, and he was saying like, so he's gone to a hitting guy the past couple off seasons, right? Like nobody, that just blew people's mind, right? That this guy was going to a hitting guy because he never had before, right? And he was, you know, kind of talking about how like my strengths are my strengths, and I know what I'm good at, and I know what I can do, and when I do that well, I know that I can win, right? But like these guys are finding my weaknesses more, right? So it's got to be, I've got to be more efficient in my strengths, because like even if I work at my bottom part, right, it's never going to be a strength. And so the ability to yeah, just like be able to focus on that and hear that, and I think that's super key, right? Especially coming from such a perennial, right, where these young kids have no idea how good that guy is, and the game's going to miss him.
I mean, just absolutely incredible from day one too. I mean, yeah, I think he broke into the league at 18, right? 18 or 19.
18 or 19, yeah, something like that.
Yeah, he's a stud.
Well, that was unheard of back then, right? Like now it happens a little bit more, right? You get like a Bobby Witt, right? That's a year and a half, 2 years into it, and he breaks through.
Definitely gotten younger.
Mm-hmm.
When he broke in, it was, you know, it wasn't too uncommon to have a number of 36, 37, 38, 39, 40-year-old guys on the team.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you know, you get a select few of those guys, and they're usually $100 million, $200 million guys at the back end of their contracts.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, it was just always so interesting to me to like hear. I always listen to him, right, because the game is very simple for him, but then also like he's learning about it now, and that's what's keeping him there, right? So he's he's always a go back to for me, because he's great, right? And I watched him since I was little. So, but I think that's super important. So, what, man, tell us a little bit about this, this Halo company that you started, and I'd love to hear about the association stuff too, but what's kind of your, why'd you kind of start this company? What's it do right in actuality? And how are you seeing it help athletes?
Yeah, so I got introduced to what I believe, and still over the last 12 years, I believe that this is one of the best kept secrets in all of medicine. I came across these systems that stimulate you to heal at a accelerated rate, helps with detoxification, nutrient intake, and basically just facilitating healthier cells throughout your body, which will facilitate healing.
Mm-hmm.
We call them intelligent microcurrent. There's a number of different devices, and over the last 12 years, my brother and I, they first saved our careers, his volleyball career and my baseball career. I had a herniated disc between L4, L5, and couldn't walk around. You can definitely see, like, if you look at my numbers, you can see when the injury happened, and then when I got better too. And you can see it in my numbers. It just shows, on and off the disabled list, starting in 2007, and then finally in 2010, in spring training, I got introduced to this stuff, and doctors wanted to do surgery on me. They either wanted to fuse my spine or do a laminectomy or solder off my nerve or whatever. And I was 27 years old. I was like, there's no way you're touching my back with a scalpel. And so I just, I was on and off the disabled list, trying to find something that worked, trying to find, the solution, and came across this by the grace of God. And what the doctor said I would need surgery for was better in 30 days, about a dozen treatments, and non-invasive, drug-free. And I just went, how does everybody not know about this? This is incredible. And so right after that, my brother was playing Team USA volleyball, practicing with the Olympic team. He's a big old 6'9" donkey that he can jump, and he got a good shoulder. So he was playing middle for against the Olympic team. And he blew out his meniscus, and so his doctors, his surgeons said he's one of the worst meniscus tears we've seen in a long time. You're going to need surgery, and we're not going to pay for it. And so he goes. He tells me, and this is about, again, 6 months after I had healed myself and I had bought my own machines. And so, before you go consider surgery, come over and see what we can do. And 5 weeks, two sessions a week, 5 weeks. So 10 sessions. He was back on the court playing, practicing with the Olympic team. He walked in the gym, and he said everybody's jaws hit the floor, and trainers and all that coming up to him going, you don't have the structure in your knee to be doing this. And he's like, I don't know what to tell you. I'm doing it. And so it was awesome, man. It was super cool, because he was like, they were baffled, but I was competing again at that, that very high level. And so we went back to it. And so again, long story short, our lives were touched by this stuff, totally changed the course of our professional careers, and the course of our lives. And now we love sharing it with other people, because this is the stuff that big pharma does not want you to know about. Mm-hmm. They don't want, and we help people get off medications, avoid surgeries, recover from injury at a very accelerated rate. Things like Achilles tendon full, blown off the heel, and it had to be reattached, and telling the guy, the running back that we worked with, it's going to be 12 months, 14 months maybe before he's back, full speed. And after working with him, in 4 months, 4.5 months, he was back running and cutting full speed. And
or this old guy, remember you worked on my ears, and you worked on, we went through, I had after the car accident, double hernia operation, definitely accelerated that process. And I mean, the ear stuff is crazy too, the inner ear. And that's something that, I can definitely attest to that.
Yeah, these are very, very special devices. They're two-way devices. They actually read you before they treat you. So most people that have been in a training room, most of us ball players or athletes, we go in, we know, our lasers are stim units. Most guys will own a stim unit, a TENS unit or whatever. Ultrasound, we've all used that, right? Those are all one-way modalities. They give the same thing to everybody, right? You turn the thing on, you turn it up to level 12, and here we go. And that's it. With these devices, they actually read your body, much like an EKG, EEG would read your body with electromagnetic frequency. It then, with computers inside the machines, decipher what frequency at what amperage is going to be proper for your injury in that specific part of your body. Everything holds a different resonance or frequency, including an unhealthy cell and a healthy cell. That healthy cell is going to vibrate at a much higher frequency than that unhealthy cell. And so it's looking for, it's literally seeking and searching with electromagnetic frequency to find electrical deficiency in the tissue, and then deciphering what's going to properly correct that. And it's doing that hundreds of times per second. And the results are just, they're unheard of. I can't tell you how many times I've had doctors go, this is a medical impossibility, that what you've just done here doesn't happen. This kind of speed of healing, we don't see it. And so I'm a firm believer, from everything that I've seen in the last 12 years, energy medicine is really part of the future of medicine, a major part of the future of medicine, and the phasing out of pharmacology is going to happen, whether they like it or not. There is going to be, nobody saw Dr. Spock giving away pills, right? He comes up to you again and go, and the guy was better. Like,
yes. Love it.
It's going that way, and I'm really excited to be able to introduce this to our everyday people and our athletes, because it's really kind of been a therapy for the elite for the last 30 years or so. There's testimonials from Terry Bradshaw, Jack Nicklaus, who else? I got a picture of Joe Montana sitting.
Joe Montana, right?
Yeah. Tony Robbins owns a couple devices. Vicente Fox, the former president of Mexico, my brother actually handed him his device. And so these people, they're these high level athletes and elites, they've been privy to this kind of technology that helps the body heal without surgeries and without drugs. But the average person has not been. It hasn't been available for them, and largely because our medical system is driven by pharmacology and drugs, and that's how doctors make their money, from prescribing drugs, and it really messes up their business model, which I don't really care about their business model. I care about people getting well. So that's what we're all about.
I love that, man. And I think that's what a lot of people don't think about or understand, that are outside of the game, right, is that a lot of times those injuries lead to just so many things, right? Like, it's not just the physical, right? All of it, right? The depression that comes from it, the finality of an injury ending a career, right? And then you have these super alphas that are now without somewhere to funnel their alphaness, right? And so I think it's hard. It's really hard, and that's what I love what you're doing with the nonprofit, the association too. I think that's the APBPA. I know I was going to screw that up.
It's a mouthful, yeah. Association of Professional Ball Players of America.
Yeah. So it just, like, I think that's what's so cool, being in the one side like you are, but then also having that to where it's like, man, like we can help you funnel it once it's done, right? We're not just gonna drop you off and leave you, because I think a lot of people don't understand that part. There's so many ball players that just, when they're done, and they kick them to the curb, and that's kind of the end of it, right?
It's a hard transition, I mean, it ends for everybody at some point, and where do you channel that competitive edge, that where do you get that endorphin flow that you used to get on a semi-rate, almost a daily basis? Now you're sitting in a cubicle, and you're like, man, there's something missing. or you're just searching for, you don't know where you belong. You've been a ball player for your whole life. And so that, yeah, we really help guys with that transition. Have got some really amazing programs that we're installing for financial literacy, for maybe like tax and debt relief, to help guys. We really want to help. We really want to teach men to fish and not have to give them a fish so much. That's one of our main goals is, and we're going to get involved with the youth as well, so that we're starting them out at a young age, teaching them skill sets and stuff that are going to be valuable for them, that will even, as they're playing and as they're developing, it's nice to know, hey, I am a ball player and I'm going to work on my skills, but I got this over here. I got this other skill set over here, and I know how to manage my life. That'll give you even more confidence on the field.
Yeah.
Because you're not putting all your eggs in one basket. You've got a support system, you've got a resource center, and that's what the APBPA is going to be, and is, for the last almost 100 years. So we established in 1924, and our biggest ambassadors back then were Babe Ruth, Ty Cobb, and Lou Gehrig. They were basically the face of it.
I've heard of those guys.
Yeah.
Slightly.
A couple of names you might recognize. But the whole thing was picking up other guys that needed a handout, need a little bit of help to bridge a gap, or and so we've been there for the last almost 100 years, and we got our 100th year anniversary coming up, but now we want to expand on that. Not just give a guy a few $100 to bridge a gap, but let's teach them how to how to not get in that position, or if you do get in that position, have these resources that are going to help just help you out and lift you up.
Part of it's the brotherhood too, right? I mean, that's the part that I think a lot of guys miss the most too, is the camaraderie, and just having knowing guys got your back, and like sometimes it's just people need someone to listen to them, or someone to talk to. They're used to being around 24 dudes as they travel, and all of a sudden now it's just you and whatever. And I think that's a big piece of this, where the brotherhood, we look out for each other, and some of it's physical, but a lot of it's going to be mental and emotional.
Absolutely, and having each other to lean on and bounce things off of, and that was such a huge part of most of our lives, and to have that again is huge. And so we're going to be starting local chapters. We're starting right here in Scottsdale, Phoenix area, and then our other first one's going to be in Westlake Village, California. And so we're got those in the works right now, and then we're going to be spreading out to Seattle and DC and Dallas and Chicago and San Diego, and having a number of local chapters where these guys can go and meet up and collaborate, and whether it's coaching that they want to talk about, or their own businesses that a lot of guys kind of turn into entrepreneurs, and we're going to have these business networking groups where our members get to go for free. They don't, their dues take care of their dues to the networking group, but then high-level CEOs, business owners, other professional experts are going to pay to be a part of these networking groups full of pro athletes and former pro athletes. So it's going to be really, really beneficial for everybody involved, and we're super excited because it's going to just be an awesome support system for everybody. It's going to help guys' businesses grow, and and help them find their place, and also speaking engagements and coaching opportunities and all kinds of great stuff.
Yeah, I think that's
we talked about camps too, right, Cam? Like some kids camps, and ways to kind of spread the experience and knowledge, but also just to connect the community that I think we talk about so much. So
yeah, the connection of the whole community, and we've got some big goals for that, because with all the indie guys, all the minor league guys, all the major league guys, there's a ton of dudes right there, right? And
Mm-hmm.
we can have this unification. There's really no unification. I almost see it like, what the NRA does for gun rights, and they're a huge organization, and they are able to fight some of these fights legally for gun rights. Whether you like gun rights or not is not my point, but
Yeah,
the point is there's no representation for minor league guys, and there's no representation for indie ball guys. But these guys are out there busting their butts, working on their craft, slamming against the wall, taking, just banging up their bodies, all for the love of the game. But, these other guys that get to the big leagues and have nice long careers and make millions of dollars, they would not have that opportunity had the rest of those guys not been there to fill, to play on those teams and to help them get better. And so those guys need some representation, so that, we want to build this thing into just a ginormous network of pro ball players all supporting each other.
love it.
We get some things done for for indie ball guys and for minor league guys, and improve their quality of life.
When I was talking to a kid who just graduated, and he's getting ready to go play indie ball right now, and so him and I were talking, and I was like, man, like here's your road, right? Like it's gonna be hard, right? You're gonna be broke for a while, right? You need to understand, like, this is what bats cost this amount, food costs this amount, all this stuff, just walking him through. And like his eyes are just like this. And I was like, all right, me, you, and your parents need to get on a call. We need to talk about what's ahead, right? And even just the ability to have that as a resource, right? Like, because I'm glad that I met this guy, because I've been able to like form that relationship, like be there to answer the phone, but not everybody has that, right? And I was able to tell his parents, like, look, like he's going to have to live with you for a while, because he's not going to be able to support himself. Hopefully gets to a point, right, where it's all good and he can, right? But it'll take a little while, right? And he's going to have to figure out how to get a job, right, in the off season that's not just doing lessons and not just doing other things, right? And I said, so like, that's what's so key about what I think that y'all are doing is that piece of it, right? Because even among the baseball world, the percentage of guys that even do 5 years, right? Like if you can get to the 10-year, like you're good, right? Or you're better, right, as you end. But it's like there's such a small percentage of that, and it's like everybody else needs to have somebody that gives a damn about them, and like, and that's I love that. Love what y'all are doing with that.
Well, I love the roadmap you talked about too. It's like these guys, sometimes you give them that roadmap and it helps so much. It's like Cam mentioned earlier, but with teach a man to fish, he can feed him for his whole life, versus you just give him a fish and it's that one day. I love that.
Amen, brother. Amen. So there's some things that we're wanting to get the word out to the whole community of pro ball players that might not even know that this is there for them. So every single guy, I want to make this very clear, every single guy that has signed a contract to play professional baseball in America belongs in this association. And every single one of them is able to get a membership card that's going to bring so much value to their life. It gives you opportunities, everything that we're building, as well as all kinds of discounts on rental cars and hotels and restaurants and you name it. I mean, for a $60 membership card, you're going to save hundreds of dollars. Oh, by the way, that $60 is a tax write-off immediately because we're a nonprofit. So it's already a wash. And then we start winning when you start having discounts on all that stuff. And it really can add up to hundreds to even thousands of dollars of savings. And man, I played in indie ball too. And I know how much, how far a couple $100 will go. And especially when you're, saving a couple $1,000 or a few $1,000s even over the course of a season. That's a lot of, it's a lot of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, baby.
Literally, like quite literally, actually. Well, and if you're a parent or a coach listening or watching this, I'm just begging you to hear at least one of the things that I'm hearing, Cam say is that just you are responsible with your kid, right? Whether that's you're a parent of them or you're a coach, right? You are responsible for helping develop them as a player. Like you can't, as a coach, you cannot just use them up, right? There's so much of this stuff that goes into it that you have to do that kind of research. You have to be aware of that stuff. You have to learn those things, especially if you have a top tier talent, right? Like there was a guy, that big time guy, got drafted, all this stuff, right? 2 hitting coaches, 2 pitching coaches, 2 strength coaches every day from the time he was 14 till he graduated. And it's just one of those things where that's a lot. We're expecting a 14, 15, 16-year-old to do a lot, right? And then they go to pro ball, right? And then I don't know how to talk to anybody. I just work out, or I just hit, or I just pitch, or whatever it is. And then you get a loan and you get on these bus trips. And then that's when mental stuff that's not good starts and creeps in, right? It finds a crack and it just stays there. And it keeps opening that crack up. And I think that's what's important, right? Is that it's going to end at some point. And so the ability to know they have financial literacy, right? Hopefully you're, from a family that's helps you do that, but most of them aren't, right? Let's call it what it is. Most of them don't have that and don't understand that. And so like, it's such a huge thing. That's why I think that what y'all are doing with that is just so key, because it's not there, right? Really, besides y'all, it's just not there. And so I love that. I love what y'all are doing. That's the kind of impact that the game needs, right? Because it has turned into so much of a business. Not that it wasn't before, but it's very much just cut and dry. It is what it is now. And so it's always good to have as much knowledge as possible, I think. So I think that's really important for parents to understand, especially. Yeah, it's great, but it's going to end. Right. And you need your son or your daughter to still have some pieces together right after they're done.
I think that's why the relationship piece is so huge, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like we're teaching people to be good teammates, not just to be selfish. A lot of the stuff that we see, it's like we're teaching people to be community oriented, to look out for their brothers, like little things that carry over long after the game is over for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that's why I think that piece of what Cam said about when I'm more of a whole person, I'll actually be better on the field is so important, right? Because when you know how to organize, when you know how to just save a little bit or budget that, and it doesn't have to be this crazy stuff or just anything like that, right? But it's just like that takes, even if because I ran into a lot of guys that could just shut it off. Right. And they were just like, it'll be fine. Like I just blew all that. It's fine. We'll figure it out. Which is fine. Right. But you also know that at some point it's weighing on their brain, right? It's weighing on their subconscious. And it's just like, it's that stress, right? That intense mode of the brain that is not good. Right. And I think that, I think that piece is what you said is super important. Like when I'm more developed as a complete person and as a complete player, it's easier. In a sense, it's easier, right? Because then it's just the game, and then it's just.
I look at it like you can digest it, right? If you can digest it, that's why it's like we've talked about this on a different podcast, but where after guys throw a pitch, I tell them or I ask them rate that 1 to 10, and part of that is just allowing them to take all the emotions, all those feelings, and funnel them just into a number. Sometimes a word is too hard. I'll ask guys, hey, what did that feel like? And they're like, good. And I'm like, okay, can we be a little more descriptive? But then sometimes too, it's like, instead of even being more descriptive, let's just eliminate that and just funnel it directly just into a number. So it's almost teaching them how to digest the feedback or failure or whatever you want to call it. And the same thing where it's like off the field, if you can digest these things that are happening, these adversities, or, let's face it, we all face them on and off the field. So if we can learn how to properly digest, we can move forward a lot more in a lot more balanced state.
I love that. What were you gonna say, Cam?
I don't completely remember now.
That's fair.
I had a thought and it went. I was just listening to Johnny.
Yeah, that's fair.
Love
man.
you anyways.
Yeah, but I think it's great, man. I think, and then top it on top of like the healing part, right? I think that, man, it's so good, man. It's what the game needs, right? And I love seeing more people focused on that part of it, right? Because it's easy to just get out and then go do businesses, right? But it's not harder, but it takes more work, right? To find things that will give back, and not just in a product, right? Not just in a, hey, buy this hitting tool, and it'll make you a better hitter, right? I think it's the hard, complicated, multi-layered life stuff, right? That's super important. So I love that, man. Super good. Well, man, what's the if you had to pick, what was the funniest or goofiest teammate you ever played with? I mean, we can go from freaking youth to Mexico. Anything in between? What was the funniest teammate you ever had?
Oh man, you know what? I got to go with Tim Dillard. And he has made a career out of it now. Not only was he a great competitor, and made his way to the big leagues and as a pitcher, but now he's sitting in the booth, calling games and chopping it up with Euchre. And it's really, really cool to
How
see.
cool is that? Yes.
Super cool. A tremendous guy, always kept you in stitches, always had a great attitude. And just, one of his impersonations are so spot on. I mean, the guy's really talented. So, got to go with Tim Dillard being the funniest guy I've ever played with.
I love that, man. I love that. I always love hearing stuff like that, man, because there's just some goofy dudes out there.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, his Will Ferrell, Harry Carey impersonation is so good. In fact, let me tell you how good his impersonations were. His impersonations were so spot on and so good of the other coaches. Like, he'd pick up little mannerisms of the coaches and then do them, for the guys, and guys would be just rolling. It was so good that the manager of the team, Ron Renicky, in spring training would let Tim Dillard get up in front of the whole team, in morning meetings and do impersonations of him, of the manager. And that's gotta be pretty good to get up there and make fun of the skipper.
I love that.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's great. That's awesome. Well, man, what is it? What's one piece of advice that you would give, the one biggest piece to a player, a coach, and a parent? And they can be different things, right? But like, what's the biggest piece of advice you'd give to each of those groups?
Always continue to be on a search to learn and grow as a person and as a player, on multiple different levels, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and just be willing to expand your horizons, be willing to look at yourself, see where you need improvement, and be honest enough to work on, finding what's right for you to improve in those areas. So just constant growth is what I would definitely tell pretty much everybody. I think, I think that kind of spans the whole gamut there, and including the parents. The parents, you guys, everybody wants to see their kids succeed, and a lot of effort goes into that. But know that you as a parent, it's about you facilitating them growing as a human, not just a player, but as a human, and a human that's going to be good to other humans. And so I think that's what it's all about, man. Jackie Robinson has, I think, one of the best quotes of all time, maybe in the world. And that's, a life does not have value except in the impact it has on another life. And I think that's one of the most beautiful sayings, quotes I've ever heard. And of course, it comes from the great Jackie Robinson. So yeah, we're here on this earth to love each other and help each other grow, and just be open to growing and helping others grow.
I love that, man. That's
That's
huge.
all I got.
Love it.
No, that's huge. That's huge. And it's so, but like that's a great piece of advice that has so many ladders that come down from that, right? I love that. I think that's great. And it's hard, right? Especially being a parent or a coach. It's hard, right? Because coaches, right, get hired by wins and losses very much so now, right? So it's hard, but it's and the parents too, right? And I think one of the biggest things that parents can understand is that the on-field success of your kid is not a reflection on any sort of you or the lack of effort or too much effort or the right amount of effort or anything. It's a learning platform, right? It's the safe-ish place to get hit get knocked down and figure it out, right? It's such a playing field for learning how to grow, and take it on the chin and be okay and not get knocked down, right? And so I think that's a huge thing, and I think what you're saying is absolute wisdom there, man. So well, brother, man, I know your time is very valuable, so I want to honor that. So man, thank you so much for jumping on here, man. I'm gonna make sure that.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
Thank you, brother.
Absolutely. Man, well, I'll make sure to put all the links for everything, and an easy way for people to get in contact with the organizations and the companies and stuff, man. Want to make sure that we can, just be an avenue for people to pour into that, right? And I think there's lots of good places to put money, right? But I think with the love of baseball, I think it's very cool to support an organization of like what you guys are doing. And
can I show one
please,
two
please,
really cool things?
Please.
So not only do we help guys out, but guys should be proud to be a part of this association because of its history. And so right here, I wanted to show. I've got. I'm gonna hold it up as close as I can, but that's Babe Ruth's dues card from.
That's awesome.
1927, 1928.
That's so cool.
30-31. You pay $10 a year to be a part of this association.
That's awesome.
And then the great Jackie Robinson as well.
Wow.
So these are, pieces of American history, really. And these guys were proud to be a part of this association because it helped out our brothers. And so, guys, when you sign up and get your card, know that you're part of something big. You're part of something that's been lifting guys up for almost 100 years, and really part of American history.
That's great, man. It's absolutely great. I'm gonna personally do everything I can to support that and help you guys. So, man, you let me know. I'm in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, man. So anything I could do to help, you let me know. I'm in. I'm all about.
Awesome.
Loving on the people, man. You know what I mean? That's what it really comes down to. Just like you said, we're here to love on and help people grow. So, man, I love that. And you're awesome, man. Keep doing what you're doing, brother. Any way we can support, let me know.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. John, thanks for making this happen, brother. You're the man as always. So
my pleasure. Cam squared, you guys both know how I feel about it too. So lots of love. You like that?
That's right, man. Well, y'all are awesome. I'll talk at you soon. So everybody watch that as many times as you can. Go support the organization. Go look into the halo and all that stuff. And y'all let's do it, man. Let's make this game great. So y'all are awesome. And we'll talk to you in the next episode.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much for watching. I'm sure you were able to get a lot out of that. So because of that, make sure that you share this, right? Make sure that you put it out on social media, on your stories. Make sure that you subscribe, give us a 5-star review, because our passion is to see the game grow, and our passion is to see you become the best baseball or softball player that you can. So go ahead and do that for us, and I can't wait to see you on the next episode.